Good morning, friends. I'm not really smiling much today. I'm going to turn around and show you these beetle bugs. You know, there's an old horror film, I guess you call it, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Well, I've never had to deal with what I'm dealing with beetles. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. If you can look over this shoulder, you'll see that white residue that's on my red beans. They were just loaded up with beetles. I had to come out there, I had to do something. You know, I was showing you my beans. These are, I'm actually going to turn around. I got a lot of beans, but I'm going to actually show you what the beetles can do, the damage and everything that they can do on that. So I've got to try to get rid of these. There's different methods that I can do. I'm actually probably going to try all of them. But right now, because I have the pollinators coming in here and they're hitting on the blooms, I don't want to hurt them or try to, you know, kill them. So I'm going to have to treat these tonight. As I'm picking the beans, the beetles are just popping me in the head and popping me in the chest and everything, and it's a little bit aggravating. But anyway, I'm going to turn this camera around just to show you exactly what I'm dealing with. So here's all my beans. Look at all these beans. I got them hanging everywhere. But look up here in the top. That's what the beetles do. See how they've taken those leaves and just absolutely decimated those leaves, and they'll move from green. Here's the culprits. Look at that. Those beetles right there, they are all over the place. I'm actually going to move around, but there's a pollinator just passed through the camera. There's another one. They're coming through here, so I don't want to treat it while, you know, the situation. I am taking a loss. The good thing about this is that I can actually prune and see. Look at these beetles. They're everywhere. They're just all over. I guess I'm in the prime of the season. Look at the top of it. This is the whole one side that what these beetles have done. This is what they've done to my pole beans, or my indeterminate beans that grow like vines. Look at that. They are just all over the place. So I'm having to treat this, and alas, I'm a loss for that. And I still have the blooms, but I've got to treat this, so I'm going to have to treat it today. So one of the ways is that I'm actually going to do the soap suds. I'm actually going to spray it on here. I'm going to make sure there's no pollinators. It's a little bit warmer. I'll get it later on. I'm just going to hit it, and then tonight I'm going to hit it again with a dimetris earth and just try to treat this the best I can. But they're everywhere. They're just all over my plants. These are my bush beans. I've got a little tiny bit of damage on them, but nothing like those. It's just crazy that how they would just come across and do what they do. Here's my other batch of the bush beans. These are the newer ones. They really haven't had any beans. They're getting the blooms and everything. They're not touching those. They started off with the corn. Here's my old corn. It's getting ready to, I'm gonna have to harvest. I see some of the silks here are changing. There's some silks right there. They're getting dark. Some people will wait until they just turn 100% brown or even black, but I'll just kind of keep an eye on it. I've got some young corn. Don't know how good it's gonna do this year, but I'm kind of just trying to get a feel for it to see what it does. There's the other corn. You know, I sprayed that dimetris earth on it about a week or so. Probably been 2 weeks now. They really left it alone. Here's what I had to do this morning. What I showed you with my pole beans and everything, they were just coming. That's what all these holes on these leaves are. So I had to come out here, and I said I can't lose these because I haven't got the beans yet. They're starting to bloom, but right now I had to hit it. And I know the pollinators are around here, but the neat thing about it is with the pollinators is that if they're right around it, then they can be apprehended. Not to say that dimetris earth is gonna kill them, but the way I did kind of heavy, if there's a bee in there, then what can is that it can actually smother it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to eliminate. And remember, this dimetris earth works on the insects that are exoskeleton, that has the skeleton on the outside. So you can tell this is a little beetle that I've hit. He hasn't moved and everything, but you know, I'm just going to keep an eye on. I know where he's at and everything. It's not an immediate death, but what it does kill them, and they try to get away from it. So there was a lot more beetles, and of course they've gone to my other bed. My tomatoes and everything look really good. I'll just go ahead and show you that. These are the best tomatoes I have grown since I've been doing it, and I just really believe that the way I've done it is that when I've done the single stem, look how tall they are. These stakes are taller than me. But doing the single stem, and then like this one right here, trying to get these suckers out of here. If it was blooms or anything, I wouldn't take it away. But simply, that's what I've been doing, and just making that plant a single stem. And look at the tomatoes on this one vine that I just picked that sucker off of. I got tomatoes that are turning. They're not the perfect tomatoes, but I've got them a lot. I've got a lot of tomatoes. These tomatoes are interesting to see. These ones should not, and I don't think that they will turn red. These are a pineapple tomato. I've never grown them before, so I'm just really watching them to see what they'll do. They get really big, as you can tell, the problem that I had. And what that is, that's a nutrition problem. That's when the plant needs a lot and it's trying to give so much to it. So, you know, it's a learning process in everything that I do. But my battle today, this week is basically going to be these beetle bugs. I've got to try to get in here and try to eliminate them. I have 2 beetle bags. I have one on both ends, and they've come in there. Now I put them up before we had a really, really bad rain, and it rained, you know, really bad. And I think that could have dissolved some of it. The beetle bags really work good. I'm going to show you that just in a second. Well, this is a beetle bag. All of those are beetles. Let's see what this is. This has a smell to it as a deterrent. And what they come in there, and what it does is and they just drop in. I guess it kills them, and then they drop in there. I've got one on the lower end of it too. So, you know, I'm actually going to get another one. I'm going to actually hang it up by the beans over there just to try to. If I had to give you a number on there, it's too many to count. So that shows you what the beetle bag. So I've got one like this here and one down in the lower half beyond the corn. Video is kind of short and everything, but I want to show you, and I'm standing out by my peppers. I'm not going to show you them. One of the biggest problems that I'm having with my peppers this year, I didn't have problems with last year, is that I'm getting end rot on the fruit. And that means that I don't have enough calcium and so forth in the fertilizer. One of the fertilizers that I've been using, and I kind of skipped it because based on the rain and now that we're getting and everything, is that I was using the Neptune's Harvest that I told you, and I use it. I'm going to come back out here and I'm going to hit it again. And so I'm going to go through it. The other thing is that if I'm having too much of that, one way is that, like for your tomatoes, I know it really works well with it, is that you want to get a source of calcium. A really, really easy source of calcium is just go down to the Dollar General or your local store and buy a generic big bottle of the Tums. Crush them up, and then what you can do is you can do it the same way that you would do your fertilizer. Don't put it on your plant, put it in your soil. I would do it right before I water, and then what I would do is I would crush it up, put it around it just like I would the fertilizer. I'd put it down in the ground so it'd get in the root, and then what I would do is just spray it, or, you know, while I was doing my watering, and that will help it. That will actually help really well with tomatoes if you're getting end rot. But I have actually fertilized my tomatoes quite a bit. I've been using potassium. I've used 10-10-10, that's what I started with, and then the fish fertilizer. So I think I'm doing okay, but what's happening with my peppers is that either the beds or the soil, the breakdown of it, I got to check the pH. And so what I'm doing is I've never experienced end rot with bottom end rot with my peppers, but I'm seeing it. I've already thrown away about a half a dozen already that have the bottom end rot. So they were too young. And so it's different things. That's all part of it. Every year is not the same. This year I may be better on one thing than the other. So it's all part of gardening and everything. So coming with these experiences, that's what I wanted to show you. These are actual experiences that I'm having to deal with. I've never dealt with the beetle bugs before. I've never encountered them. I've seen them. I've seen them when I was little. But in my garden personally, since 2018, since I've been doing the raised bed, I've never had the conflict that I am with the beetle bugs. I've had the conflict when I have overrun with the squash bugs and the different other types of insects, but never with that. And so it's a learning process in this all doing. So I've got to harvest my beans, I've got to get my other stuff, and then I've got to treat this the best that I can. And time is on my side based on that. If I don't have a lot of rain and I'm able to treat this, then it'll be better. If not, I just have to keep coming out here and treating it. But I just wanted to show you this. This is reality of gardening. This is reality of what you have to face with. And even though you may have the prettiest garden, which mine's not pretty because of I've not been able to come out here and tend to it like I regularly would if I hadn't had the knee surgery that I had. But at the same point, it doesn't matter, you know, how your garden looks is based on your vegetables. A lot of times you just got to keep on top of things, and if not, this simple little thing can happen, and then these beetle bugs aren't here one day and then they're here and now they're really here. So they're just using my garden as a feeding ground and everything, and I guess these beans are just what they really like because it's a haven for them and they can easily have access. So I've got to treat them. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day, a great weekend. And until next time, I hope for better luck and I'll be able to show you what I've been able to do. And take care. God bless you. And until next time, this is Dave. Take care.